So let's talk about a really tough spot to be in. What happens when you have a brilliant strategy? It's backed by all the right data, but it runs into one huge problem. The timing is completely out of your hands. It's a classic business school dilemma, and we're going to break it down. So, what's at the heart of this whole story? It's this number, $340,000. Now, that's not just some number on a spreadsheet. That is a massive capital investment, and it's the anchor for a huge strategic bet. And that number? Well, that's the price of being right, but too early. This is the reality for Marcus Blue of Blue Family Shrimping. See, he made this incredibly smart, data-driven bet on the future. The only problem is, the future is taking its sweet time to get here, and that bet is now pushing his company right to the edge. So you gotta ask, how did he end up in this mess? Well, to really get a feel for the pressure he's under right now, we've got to go back and look at the logic, the pure conviction that drove him to make this bet in the first place. For the longest time, Blue Family Shrimping was a rock-solid business. Founded back in '84, just chugging along with 3 boats, pulling in a really respectable 18% profit margin year after year. But then in 2021, Marcus has this light bulb moment. He's looking at NOAA climate data, and he sees this undeniable trend. The Gulf waters are warming up, and that's going to push the shrimp into deeper water. So he decides to get ahead of it. He invests the $340,000 and retrofits 2 of his vessels for deep water operations. Super proactive. Okay, so that was the plan. But what's the reality on the ground right now? Well, that future he bet on, it's been pretty stubborn. And this is where things get really interesting. You've got to look at the competition. While Marcus's forward-thinking operation is struggling, his big competitor, Bubba Gum Shrimp Co., is absolutely crushing it by just sticking to the old ways. They're not just thriving, they're expanding their fleet. And wow, does this chart tell a story? That comfortable, predictable 18% profit margin, it's been chopped by more than half, down to just 8%. For a family business, that's not just a dip, that's like falling off a cliff. The debt payments on that new equipment are just eating away at their profitability. So let's put that in dollars and cents. We're talking about profits dropping from over $200,000 a year down to about $76,000. And here's the part that would drive you crazy. The scientists are all nodding along, saying, yep, the climate shift is happening, your data is good. But when? Could be 2027, could be 2032, nobody knows for sure. It's like knowing it's gonna rain, but having no idea if it's tomorrow or in 5 years. All right, so if you're Marcus, what do? You're stuck between a rock and a hard place. Well, there's no magic answer, but we can look at this through a decision framework, a way to structure your thinking when the path isn't clear. You have to start asking some really tough questions, and they go way beyond just the bottom line. What does this do to your market position, to your crew? What can the business actually handle, financially? And this is the big one. What's worse, bailing on the right strategy too early or holding on so long that you go under? And when you start working through all of that, you basically land on 4 possible paths forward. Each one is a totally different direction, and believe me, each one has some serious trade-offs. Okay, path number 1. Go big or go home. We're talking aggressive expansion. This means doubling down on the original idea, buying a 3rd boat, and getting it ready for deep water. Now, the thinking here is, hey, if I'm right, I want to be really right. And if that climate shift hits, man, they'd be set up to own the market. But, and this is a huge but, the risk is just massive. You're not talking about over $500,000 on the line, and your profit margins would get squeezed down to basically nothing. So this all boils down to one terrifying question. Does this move basically guarantee the business dies before it ever gets the chance to prove its strategy was right? All right, option 2 is the complete opposite, a full-on strategic retreat. This means selling off all that new deep water equipment, taking the loss, and just going back to good old-fashioned shrimping. Now, on one hand, this is the safe play. It stops the bleeding, financially. You're back to a business model you know works, but you're basically admitting defeat on your strategy and swallowing a huge loss, about $160,000. And if that shift does happen next year, you are left completely flat-footed. So what is it? Is this the smart, prudent move that saves the company today? Or is it just setting yourself up for guaranteed failure down the road? A real dilemma. Then there's option 3, maintenance mode. Basically just wait, do nothing new, keep operating the 2 retrofitted boats, make the debt payments, and just hold on. The good thing is you're not adding any more risk. You're keeping your options open, but you're not solving the problem either. You're just treading water, stuck with those terrible profit margins, slowly burning through your cash reserves and putting your fate entirely in the hands of Mother Nature. And that's the real gut check for this one, isn't it? When you're just hoping, is that even a strategy anymore? Or are you just kicking the can down the road, waiting for a decision to be forced on you? Okay, last one, option 4, is the wild card. A total pivot. Forget catching shrimp for a minute. What if you took all this expertise you've built up and started a consulting business to help other shrimpers adapt? What I love about this idea is it flips the script. That $340,000 mistake suddenly becomes R&D for a whole new business. You can make money from your knowledge, whether the shrimp move next year or in 10 years. But you have to learn to be a consultant, and it completely changes what the family business is. But here's the emotional core of this choice. Is this a brilliant way to salvage value from a bad situation, or are you giving up on the family legacy, the very thing your business was built on? You know, no matter which of these 4 paths you look at, it all comes back to this one single question. When the future you correctly saw is just taking too long to show up, which voice do you listen to? The one in your gut, your conviction, or the one in your bank account, your cash flow? There's no easy answer,